Hey everybody, welcome back to JT channel and welcome to a discussion about pretty much my favorite game series, franchise, whatever of all time. That being Unreal Tournament. Obviously it's in the name of the video. But I have been watching Secret Level on Amazon Prime, which if you haven't seen it and you have Prime, I highly suggest you check it out. It's very well done. I haven't finished it or anything, but by far, so far, my favorite episode has been the Unreal Tournament one. And it really brought back all these memories of how much that game meant to me. And then I remembered that we haven't had one since Unreal Tournament 3, which came out in like 2004 or 5, or I don't even remember, to be honest with you. I owned it in 2009. I know it came out before then. But I went and did some research, and I didn't like what I saw, but I figured, you know, I'll put a video out there. I'm a small-time YouTuber. As of this video, 107 subscribers. That's a lot harder to say than I thought it would be. But if I put this video out there, maybe somebody will see it. Maybe somebody will get a new Unreal Tournament. I have my doubts due to the simple fact that Epic Games no longer owns the property, and I'm not even sure who it got sold to. I read about it, but I can't remember the name of the company. As far as I know, the series has been shelved. But the Secret Level episode really made me miss a lot about it, and that's why I wanted to make this video. I kind of wanted to talk about what it means to me, the series in general. Tell you guys a few stories, including the one I've told a few times on this channel, and then sit here and rant and rave about how we need a new one. But for those of you who don't know, Unreal Tournament is a first-person shooter. It's one of the OGs. It was first around in the 90s. Nothing complicated about it. Just a bunch of violence and gore and guns. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's what Doom was, and that's what Call of Duty is. I mean, yeah, Call of Duty has more of a story, especially the later games, but it's just an old school FPS. It was one of the first ones I remember playing. Like in my head, if I think really hard, there was Doom, the original Doom, and Unreal Tournament, and Battlefield 1942. Those are the three big games that were FPSs when I was a kid. I was born in 1991. I'm sure there were more. I don't want super nerds hopping in my comments and screaming at me, what about this game, this game? Contra. Contra wasn't a first-person shooter, so calm down. Excuse me. But for me, it's one of my earliest memories, other than like the Sega games I played. I was a Sega kid. But after that, it was Unreal Tournament. And it really just, it grabbed me from the very beginning. I loved the animation. I loved the kinds of guns they had. I loved that there were like little descriptions of the guns. And sure, that's in all FPS games, but I wasn't aware of that back then. Remember, I was born in 91. So I was only like 8 or 9 years old playing these horribly violent games. Look how I turned out. But in the early 2000s especially, I was going to say specifically, but you heard how that went. When my mom was with a guy I'd rather not talk about, he actually got us into those games, which is, you know, annoying because he sucked. But nonetheless, he got those games for us, Unreal Tournament, and I think I mentioned Battlefield 1942. And they were just really fun. And you could play in, I don't know why I stuttered there, third person, but I've always been more attracted to first person. As you guys on the channel know, I've talked about that a few times. And I feel like you wouldn't have the foundation for certain games without Unreal Tournament. I mean, look at some of the biggest games out there are made on Unreal Engine. So where do you think that came from? That came from Unreal Tournament, the games, created Unreal Engine, and then on Unreal Engine, you could like make your own maps or make mods. It's one of the first games where you could really go in and mod like crazy. Trust me, I know. My mom's boyfriend at the time used to make maps, and we would have to find buildings with like our faces on them. Like, you would put our pictures in buildings and stuff. There was one map I'll talk about in a second that I will always remember, regardless of how much of a piece of shit that guy was. But besides that, it was what got me into first-person shooters. To this day, the original OG Unreal Tournament games, and Unreal Championship, I think Unreal Tournament 2002 and 2003, I played all of them. I loved all of them. Unreal Championship wasn't my favorite, just because I just liked running around and shooting people. I'm not gonna lie. I just loved doing that, like, online. First online game I ever played, Unreal Tournament. And Championship had its own system, and that was great. But it just wasn't my favorite. And then you move to Unreal Tournament 3, which I always talk about how Doom, the Doom I just beat, Doom 2016, is like my favorite game ever. I might have lied to you. Now that I've starting to like remember all this stuff from Unreal Tournament, Unreal Tournament 3 was probably my favorite game of all time, and I really mean that. I apologize for all the stuttering. I'm just trying to get my words right. But back to, I said I want to talk about some of the nostalgia I remember. I mentioned custom maps. Again, first game I ever played where you could do that. Again, I'm sure in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was probably a bunch of other games where you could do that, but that wasn't what I was interested in. I was interested in Unreal Tournament. And I think there's even a game just called Unreal. And I don't remember much about that one. But we had this custom map where my mom's boyfriend at the time, it was just a small map and had 2 hills, one on each side. And there was a town where every single building looked exactly the same. Some buildings had weapons, some had like other modifiers, health and stuff like that. Hi, child. And in the church, I can't remember, but there was something in the church. But it was the hillside. You walked out of the church and you went to the left. And that hillside was just covered in Redeemers, which was it was a nuke, basically. You shot it and it blew up a certain radius. You could escape it. Like, it didn't blow you up if you were out of range, but it had like a massive explosion range. And it was just like 20 or 30 of them on this hillside. So you could just run up. You can only carry one at a time, but you could run up, grab one, shoot it, grab one, shoot it, grab one, shoot it. It was stupid, but it was fun. And it's just something I always remember. And then the map where it was this big building in the middle of the map, and you went into it, and on one side was my brother's face, and on the other was mine. It was just, and we just shoot each other's faces. It was dumb. And of course, that's the first time I heard the word frag, F-R-A-G. In case I say that again, don't someone to mishear me. Which just meant kills back then. And I really liked the arsenal too. I remember the flat cannon, the rocket launcher, the ripper, the machine guns. There was like machine guns, and they changed it to like chain gun, where it shot out pieces of metal, which I thought was a really cool thing. I think that was in Unreal Tournament 3. You had your teleporter. That's not what it was called, but it was just a gun where you shot out a little disc, and wherever it landed, you teleported. And you could also use it as a weapon. This is one of my favorite things to do when I used to play this game, is you could fire the teleporter under somebody, and when you activated it, you would teleport basically inside of them, and they would explode, and it would count as a kill. Incredible. That's the first time I ever saw the triple rocket lock-on. I don't know if that's the first game to ever do that, but the first memory of taking a rocket launcher, locking it on, and firing 3 rockets at once, which you saw me do in Doom 2016, that's all Unreal Tournament. They're the ones that gave us that. I don't see much guns like the flat cannon anymore. Doesn't make any sense. It's a brilliant gun. You either fire a bunch of bits all at once, or you fire a ball that hits the ground and explodes into a bunch of bits. Of course, plasma cannons, assault rifles, the same old, same old. I mentioned the Redeemer. There's also something called the ion cannon. Same thing as the Redeemer, only it shot down a laser from a satellite. You had to stand still and hold and fire this like targeting laser, and you had to hold it for like 5 seconds, which is hard to do, especially if you're aiming at something and they realize you're aiming at it. They could, take you out while you're trying, because you get shot once and you're done. You got to start over. It also had like great levels like inside the actual games. I have memories of a bedroom level of maybe the first Unreal Tournament. I'm not sure, but you were like the size of a toy basically, and it had a bed that you could like double jump on, and it would bounce you super high. You'd land on a speaker, shelving it with a speaker on it. That's where the Redeemer was. There was also a plasma rifle that was an insta-kill rifle that you could have. Like, normally the plasma rifles on Unreal fired off either a blue straight line or a blue ball. And if it was an insta-kill rifle, they turned red. So, obviously instant kill. Again, more stuff I only heard from Unreal Tournament. And perhaps the greatest thing about Unreal Tournament was the announcer. And I'm not going to try, but you know it. Double kill, triple kill, monster kill, ultra kill, headshot, first blood. You can hear the voice. That voice, that's from Unreal Tournament. And in the episode of Secret Level based on Unreal Tournament, they used the most perfect voice. I don't know if it's the actual guy or if they got someone to redo it, or if they just borrowed the audio. But actually, I'll use that as a transition because that brings me to my point here. Watching that episode of Secret Level tells me that there are still people out there that appreciate Unreal Tournament. That maybe they don't love it as much as I do, but I think a new game would have been great. And like a decade or so ago, I started watching this Twitch channel. I think it was Twitch anyway, where they were making a new Unreal Tournament. And as of, I don't know, a year or two ago, maybe more than that. It might have been like several years ago. But anyway, they had a YouTube channel. And this is all stuff I just learned recently, where they had released like some of the animations with the guns, and they would play through one of the maps. They played a team deathmatch. They were making a new Unreal Tournament. It was going to be like a new one, I think. I don't think it was going to be a follow-up to Unreal Tournament 3, which we'll talk about in just a second. I know I kind of passed over that, but I was just kind of being nostalgic. But they were going to make a new Unreal Tournament. It was going to be the first game since 3, but it never came to fruition, and the most frustrating sentence I've ever read in my entire life. I'm 33 years old. I'll be 34 in 5 months. I have read a lot of stuff. I've read certain people be elected and been frustrated. I've read texts from family members. I've read texts from other people, like friends or ex-girlfriends. I have read billboards and books and news stories, the Vince McMahon stuff. I have been frustrated a lot reading single sentences in my life. But the most frustrating sentence I've ever read in my entire life was just yesterday, or today, I'm not actually sure, when I read the following. Epic Games stopped working on the new Unreal Tournament to focus on Fortnite. Shoot me. Shoot me. Take one of the guns from Unreal Tournament and shoot me. I understand that Fortnite is probably one of the most popular games of all time. Everybody that's 12 and under play it, and some people over 12 play it, and that's fine. I'm not making fun of you. It was a silly joke. Don't take it too seriously. Cats in the background. But seriously, I get it's popular, but to stop production on a new Unreal Tournament to focus on Fortnite, which then led to them shelving the series and potentially selling it, like I said, it's frustrating. I don't know if I'd push it all the way to pissing me off, but I was not happy when I read that. Now that I know that the series is like shelved or was sold or whatever, I don't see a reason why someone else can't pick it up and make a new one. Like I've been saying, a lot of the things that we are enjoying today, especially me, I don't know about you, but me especially, like I said, the lock-on triple rocket was an Unreal Tournament thing. And a lot of the things that I've learned about first-person shooters all came from Unreal Tournament. Unreal Tournament 3, like I've been talking about off and on, has the greatest gaming story of my life. Now, the Doom 2016 story is good too. I mean, my best friend bought it in 2016, and we were playing on 2 separate accounts. We'd trade to help each other if we were stuck. And then I moved to Tennessee, and I lost it. I just kind of lost Doom because it wasn't on my PlayStation. I think it was on his. And then 8 years later, in 2024, I finally beat it. And, that was great. I was excited. However, Unreal Tournament 3, for some reason, will always stand out. I started playing it in 2009. I played the little, the fun modes or whatever. And then I played the story, the campaign. The guy in the campaign was called Reaper, which it's a name I gave my wrestling character for many, many years. And I've always been fascinated with, Grim Reapers and stuff like that. So the guy that I'm playing is called Reaper. I was already in. The story was really cool. The final... Cats are going at it again. The final level is a one-on-one against... I can't remember her name, but she's the leader of the alien race that you're trying to stop. And I got to that level, and the most kills I got against her, all you need is 10, right? And it's not a very big map. But highest I ever got was 7 in 2009. Before something happened and I lost the game. I don't remember what, too long ago. And then in 2014, Christmas of 2013, my buddy surprised me with it for my birthday, for Christmas. I literally just said Christmas. I told you, I'm trying to get my thoughts all together here. And then in 2014, I finally beat it. I literally dropped to my knees and cried once I got that 10th kill. And then there was a cool post scene, like after you beat her, where a couple of the aliens show up and Reaper jumps off a wall and goes to attack him in slow motion. I was like, oh, I can't wait for the sequel. And then the narrator, there was no sequel. So it will always hold a special place in my heart, especially Unreal Tournament 3. Probably my legitimate favorite game of all time, just because it had so many cool modes, so many cool things to do. And now at the end of the video, this is just me campaigning for a new one. After everything I've said, I spent 15 and a half minutes just talking about how much the game means to me and how much I feel like the game has given the first-person shooter world. We need another one. I understand that Epic Games did make the right call. I got my frustrations out. Them cutting off a franchise that not everyone's heard of to make a game that ended up being one of the most popular games ever. Fine, fair enough. If I walk up to some 12-year-old kid and say Fortnite, they're going to go screaming and running around in a circle around the whole parking lot, store, wherever they are until their nose starts bleeding and they pass out. If I say Unreal Tournament to a 40-year-old, they're going to look at me like I just smacked their dog. I get it. However, in today's day and age of like remaking video games, remastering video games, stuff like that, I think that if any company, Epic Games aside, wanted to bring Unreal Tournament back, they could. I think it'd be very popular. It would take some time. People like me, people who grew up on that game and know that game and love that game, would be stoked from the instant it was announced. But if they marketed it right, God, that was hard to say, I think it'd work out. So, yeah, I just wanted to come on here and spend almost 20 minutes talking about a game franchise I love and trying to campaign for a new one. Like I said, I'm a small-time YouTuber. I've got 107 subscribers. Not everybody's even going to watch this video. But if you do, and if you happen to agree with me, I'd really appreciate a share, a comment, something like that. You can like it if you want, but I'm more pushing for, like I said, I want this to be kind of a campaign. I want more people to talk about this. And like I said, I don't necessarily see it happening, but if you watch this video and you agree with me, share it with your friends, let people know, talk about Unreal Tournament more. Maybe, just maybe, if enough people get interested after Secret Level, which I know Amazon Prime doesn't have like the most subscribers of the streaming services or whatever, but if enough people watch that episode and they're like, oh, what is this? Oh, it's based off of games, right? Every episode's based off of a board game or a video game. They'll look into it and maybe it'll blow up. But thank you everybody so much for watching. I already said the things, like, share, subscribe. Let me know if you played Unreal Tournament and if you have any memories of it. And let me know if you'd like to see it on the channel someday. Me and my wife have talked heavily about buying some of the old consoles in the future. Maybe not anytime super soon. But Unreal Tournament 3 was for the latest console it could be for, I think, was the PS3, which I used to have. Not going to talk about that right now. But if I can get a PS3 and Unreal Tournament 3, maybe I'll throw it on the channel and we can relive that game together. But until next time, this is JT Channel. I am JT, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, that didn't work.
Vehicular manslaughter.